If you're hearing this, you're invited to check out Bruh is a Murder, a true crime podcast where we cover cases of color. You can join me, Andre,
because the rate of black trans deaths and assaults are super high in America, and that's fucked up.
Battle,
and then he thought everything was good, but unfortunately for his friends, that was going to be the last time they would see him alive.
Robert,
Caboni Savage got 12 murders to his name, most of which happened while he was in prison under his orders.
And Kelly.
Just because, so I decided to talk about the White Witch, which is,
Ooh.
Yeah.
Look at that prelude.
Egg, what is it? What do they call it? Egg something? Anyway, whatever. No,
Like the egg purification spell or what?
No, when you put an egg thing in a movie.
Oh, Easter egg.
Easter egg, thank you.
Oh.
I love the most of their hands an egg thing.
As we cover POC cases that range from missing people, serial killers, conspiracy, and even more. All to a pretty kick-ass playlist. You can check us out bi-weekly anywhere you get podcasts and on YouTube. It's like 106 in Park, but more murder.
Hello and welcome back to the True Crime Guys podcast. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Michael.
All right, we have an interesting mashup for you this week. It's a touchy subject. We're talking suicide and the fact that if you take it upon yourself to help someone do said thing, you're a murderer, and that's how it works. You're not allowing them to, get through a rough patch and find help. You utilize this person to fulfill your sick fantasies.
Right.
Yeah, we have a couple instances of this. We have a serial killer in Japan that searched out people who were claiming to be suicidal and took advantage of that and killed them, and was actually living with their bodies, which is another topic altogether. And another case that's very well known. There's one case that's lesser well known, the Japan case, and then there's a case in Germany, which if you've been in the true crime world for any amount of time, you've probably heard of this case. It involves cannibalism and assisted suicide as well.
That one's a rough
called
one.
Murder.
So be aware. That was a rough one. Like Lauren said, there's going to be a lot of dark conversation in this episode. This was just a fair warning. This is your fair warning. I know you don't typically need it for true crime, but there are a lot of touchy subjects here, and we know suicide is always something that we tread lightly around.
Yeah,
we want to make sure people.
Thankfully,
get
so many avenues nowadays for people
Yes.
that are going through a rough patch like that to help them get through it.
Absolutely. And it's our responsibility as citizens, as friends, as acquaintances to help people, especially if they express that to us, if they confide that they are suicidal to us, then it's our responsibility to try to help them, I think. It's especially if they confide in you in this, instead of taking advantage of them like these people did in these cases.
Precisely. So let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Hey, it's Dead, nice to meet you. In the early days, it was hard to reach you. So busy with your life, I didn't need to. Reaching out for something, anything to cling to. Totally convinced this life don't need you. I know what's in your heart, I promise I do. Understanding all the things that you go through. Hey, it's Dead, call me back, I guess I missed you. But don't call me back right away. Make sure to take some time today. Call your mom, call your friends, get some sunshine. Feel alive again. Most importantly, feel alive again. Ikigai is a Japanese concept referring to something that gives a person a sense of purpose, a reason for living. Ikigai could be anything from watching the sun rise to trying out new recipes to volunteering at a local shelter or spending time with family. There's nothing too trivial as long as it provides you with a pleasure and a sense of motivation. Hey, it's Dead, nice to meet you. In the early days, it was hard to reach you. So busy with your life, I didn't need to. Reaching out for something, anything to cling to. Totally convinced this life don't need you. what's in your heart, I promise I do. Understanding all the things that you go through. Hey, it's death, call me back, I guess I missed you. I guess I missed you. The Japanese are traditionally in the mindset that there are many, many little things that make your life worthwhile. Not necessarily all things worthwhile are grand. So take your time. Find the small things. Find pleasure in them. Leave death on hold. Leave death on hold.
All right, our first case, we're going to Japan. And it sounds crazy, but suicide in Japan, for me, are a little bit synonymous because of the infamous suicide forest there. The Aokigahara Forest at the base of Japan's Mount Fuji is a hotspot for suicides, as hundreds of people go there each year to end their lives. Police regularly patrol the area for suicide victims and survivors. That being said, Japan's total numbers place it significantly outside the top 10 for suicide in the world. But suicide is nonetheless still a serious concern there. It's the leading cause of death in men between the ages of 20 and 44, and women between the ages of 15 and 34.
Oh, wow.
And due to this, the government has been active in intervention to decrease the risk of suicide, particularly among young vulnerable populations. And the person that we focus on for this case was doing the opposite of that. You know, the government was being active, trying to help these young people to not go to that extreme, to get through that rough patch. And our killer this week, rather than that, was preying upon these young suicidal people by connecting with them on the internet, mainly Twitter, not allowing them the chance to get through the rough patch or to seek help, professional help.
Yeah, he also twisted their reasoning, and thought, in his eyes, he felt like he was doing them a service. He was helping them, That's how twisted this guy was.
Mm-hmm.
But
really, he was sexually motivated.
Yes.
He was a serial killer, and he was just using this means to obtain his victims.
Absolutely. And
maybe he justified it in his own sick head, like you said, made himself feel better by the fact that, they were suicidal
exactly.
anyway.
And then he thought he knew how they felt because he allegedly was suicidal himself, even though he's still alive. It's like, if you're so suicidal, why are you still here? But we'll get into that.
So Takehiro Shirashi was born in Zama, Japan on October 9th, 1990, and shares a birthday with John Lennon and George Kittle.
Wow.
Let's go.
What a crew.
Clearly, George Kittle, much bigger deal than John Lennon.
Wow. Maybe
not biased at all as a 49er fan on that one.
Never mind the rest.
I'm kind of bummed.
World.
I was gonna go to the Pro Bowl practices this past weekend because they're in Vegas, in Summerlin actually, and I just missed out on registering to get free tickets to go. And I've been seeing pictures of Debo walking around, George Kittle doing some autographs and stuff. I was like, fuck,
damn it, missed out on your boys.
Missed opportunity.
Right.
Yeah.
Are they there often for the Pro Bowl? Because I feel like Vegas would be a great destination to typically.
No, the very first time. First time.
Damn it.
Well, this is the first time we've had a football stadium to do it in. So
that's true. Well, they weren't practicing at the stadium though, right? They were at another field in Summerlin.
No, but I mean, the only reason they were practicing in Summerlin is because the game is Sunday in the Raiders Stadium.
Yeah, man, I can't wait till they hold a Super Bowl there.
They are. I think they already said that it's going to be 2024. I want to say.
Oh shit, that's just around the corner.
Yep.
Oh man, good luck with parking.
Maybe you should come back to Vegas and we can go to the Super Bowl together.
Oh yeah, I'm sure those tickets will be nothing.
Hey, we'll just we'll have the listeners pull together some money for us, make our dream come true.
Right. Let us go to one Super Bowl.
I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, that would be amazing though. I hope I can go to a Super Bowl before I die. It's kind of like a bucket list thing. My parents got to go. They actually won tickets when I was a kid. They went to the 1996 Super Bowl. I think it was Bills and Cowboys.
Oh, that was
or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, that sounds like it would have been one of the Elway ones almost.
Yeah, it's either 94 or 96. I'd have to ask them, but yeah. They actually won tickets at a Belk's. Do you know Belk's, the department store?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
Never heard of it.
Okay. It's kind of like a JCPenney or a Dillard's or a Sears. It's kind of like that. I don't know. Maybe they're only popular in the South. Actually, they're gone now. They're completely extinct, but that it was an old department store, and my mom entered this sweepstakes, and she fucking won. She won tickets to the Super Bowl, right? She wasn't even a football fan at that time. I was like, damn it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Right? Pretty cool, though.
So Takahiro, as we mentioned, born in Zama, Japan in 1990 and grew up in Zama along with his parents and younger sister. According to acquaintances who talked to the Japanese media, he was a quiet boy who went to the local elementary and high school. He had average grades, but was a diligent student who never missed a day of school. That being said, he was a skinny teenager who wore thin-rimmed spectacles and joined his high school's baseball team as a freshman. He was kind of a nerdy kid, but also an athlete.
Yeah.
He enjoyed track and baseball.
Yeah, baseball's big in
his
Japan.
grades were, yeah, for sure. His grades were not stellar, but he was a conscientious student who did not miss a day of school. He was well regarded by his school and his classmates in general. They said he was quiet, but he was always, nice. And here's a quote from a classmate that said he was a good listener rather than someone who would speak about himself. So,
okay,
unassuming, quiet.
It's always the quiet
humble.
ones, isn't it? Got to watch 'em.
Yeah, I guess so. In the city of Yokohama, well, not always, because Dahmer was the class clown, right?
Yeah, I guess he was.
He was the guy always making everything about himself in school.
Yeah, he was. He was the opposite, huh?
Yeah.
Dahmer, Dahmer is going to come up in this episode, though. Well, I'm sure he will.
Yeah. Well, there was a little bit of similarity between old Takahiro and Dahmer.
Yeah, there was.
They both liked to live with their victims.
Yes, they did. They were lonely people.
So in the city of Yokohama, he went on to study in a prefectural high school. This is when things started to go downhill. Back home, his parents got divorced, due to which his mother and sister moved out. So it sounds like he was just living with his father at this point after the divorce.
Right.
And after graduation in 2009, he started working odd jobs like working in a supermarket, a food factory, and a pachinko parlor, which is like kind of like a gambling machine, right?
Yeah. It looks like it's like gambling arcade machines. It's like a whole bunch of them in just one area, and people just go in there and just sit at them, just like, poker machines, something like that, arcade poker.
Which makes me wonder if that's how he got connected to the seedy underworld.
I'm sure.
Where he became a scout for a prostitution ring located in the Kabukicho district, which is known as the red light district in Japan. Here, his job was to lure young women to work in these clubs. So doing, work for some sort of a gang.
Right.
He was once described as ambitious, a dangerous man who was capable of betrayal. He also was known to be active in the Shinjuku's Denji Kabukicho district.
And this is quite
I'm butchering these names.
Right. We're doing the best we can. But this is a big change from when he was in high school, right? From being the quiet, well-mannered listener, and then now he's ambitious and dangerous. Like, man, what a change, right? Being part of this underworld really, really changed his personality, or maybe this is who he always was.
Yeah, maybe he always had these dark thoughts, and that's why he just kept to himself and stayed quiet in school, because he wasn't sure if he would be able to find anybody that thought the way he did.
Right? Yeah, he didn't find his people, and then when he found his people, he just ran with it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. So he would ultimately be given a suspended prison term for being a scout in the prostitution ring. At this time, he told his father that he found no meaning in life, and this was when he was around 27 years old. He was jobless. Following his short prison term, and at this point he got deeply involved in the dark side of social media. He started to use Twitter and slowly worked on building up a small following base. According to his neighbors, he was close to his father, who worked in an automotive design shop, and frequently helped out his father in the workshop, and also used to go out for dinner and drinks with his father. Around this time, though, he confessed to his father that he had found the love of his life and would like to have a place of his own. At which point his father helped him get an apartment that was only a mile and a half away from his father's house. The rent for the apartment was 19,000 yen, or $227 a month.
Isn't it weird?
So now he's got his own place.
Isn't it weird that like his father, well, maybe he did, but why didn't his father like inquire about this? Like, you found the love of your life. Well, who is it? Can we meet them? Who is this person?
He was dating a young woman at this time.
Okay.
So maybe he did meet her. I'm not sure.
Okay. Obviously wasn't the love of his life, but he just wanted an excuse. He just wanted an excuse to get his own place.
It could have been, in his eyes, it could have been, but she ends up breaking up with him.
Oh, okay.
So,
okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. So he would move into a one-room apartment in Zama, a southwestern suburb of Tokyo. This apartment would later be dubbed the House of Horrors by the Japanese media for reasons that we've alluded to a couple times here,
Right.
similarities to Jeffrey Dahmer. So the young woman who he was dating lived with him for 3 months in 2017 and said that Takahiro was, quote, usually more gentle than ordinary people, despite a morbid fascination with death and suicide. She says, quote, when I told him that I wanted to break up, he hugged me and said something like, don't go. So very sensitive soul, apparently. At least according to her.
Maybe she was the last straw, like the last straw for him. Maybe he thought that if it didn't work with her, he was like, fuck this. I think she kind of, think about it. He found the love of his life right at a time where he felt like he had no meaning of life. And everything started going well, and then maybe his fascination with suicide and death kind of creeped her out a little bit. Maybe she wanted to go do something else, or she didn't want to be connected to somebody who was connected to the seedy underbelly. She leaves him, and then now he feels like all I have left is the people I know through this red light district, through this seedy underbelly. And, if I can't have her, you know how it feels. At 19, 20 years old, a big breakup like that, you feel like your whole world is over.
Well, he was in his late 20s at this point. He was 27 years old.
Yeah,
so.
Well, still. Hardly old, though.
Yeah, but doesn't have much going on,
Exactly.
He's just got out, finally got his own place. He'd been living with his father, jobless, and potentially suicidal himself. I think he thought, like, I have nothing to live for, but I'm not ready to kill myself, so I'm going to have some fun first type of thing.
That's what I think, too. He was like, well, if I got nothing to live for, so I might as well just live for myself and fulfill all of the horrible fantasies that I have. Yeah.
So this girlfriend that he had for a while said that he had also sent her messages such as, let's commit suicide together, and also once texted, I have killed a hostess who said she wanted to die, which the former girlfriend dismissed as a joke, unfortunately.
Why would you do that? That is such a random thing to say. It's like if somebody says that, I'd be like, whoa, a hostess? Why a hostess? Where did she work? Like, I wouldn't just dismiss this.
Maybe because he said stuff similar so often that she just thought he was all talk.
I guess.
I don't know.
To me, that's even more alarming. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like if he's always saying shit like that.
So Takahiro, by this time, had already created 2 accounts on Twitter with a small follower base. The 2 accounts were, quote, I want to die, and a professional at hanging. Those were the 2 accounts' titles.
Wow.
And under the first account, he projected himself as a victim seeking for company for his misery. Quote, I want to forget everything, he wrote in an August 25th post. I want to disappear. Under the second account, he projected himself as a person proficient at helping people die. Quote, I want to spread my knowledge in hanging, he said. I really want to become the source of strength for everyone who is in pain. If you are at a dead end, please consult me.
Wow.
Yeah, it's sad because he's really preying on these people, knowing that they're vulnerable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Much like, it's really not all that different than a lot of the serial killers we covered who preyed on people who were, on the outside of society, whether they were sex workers or, gay people in a time in the 70s where, that would put you on the outside.
Or just people who are just straight up lonely. Like the slave master, John Edward Robinson. I feel like he's a great example of someone who just preyed on the lonely, the forgotten, the people who are starved for attention, starved for friendship. He's doing the same thing here on Twitter.
I think you're right. I think more than anything, these people that he was coming into contact with that were quote unquote suicidal at the time, I think more than anything, they were just looking for companionship, or they were, like you said, they were lonely.
Yes, they just want someone that they can go through these motions with, to talk these ideas out, not necessarily commit suicide. It's just they just want to get this stuff off their chest. They want to feel like they're not crazy.
Yeah, probably not the best people to try and sort through these things with, though. You probably want to sort through, with a professional that's trying to help you.
Yeah.
Find meaning and happiness, as opposed to talking to someone else who's also feeling the same thing.
Right, yeah.
I don't know. I'm no professional, but
yeah, I would think somebody who feels just as down and is just as depressed as you are is probably not going to be a whole lot of help in this situation. You need somebody who cares about you, someone who loves you, someone who, or like you say, like a professional who's used to dealing with this type of thing. And unfortunately, most people are too afraid or too shy to go and talk to a professional, so they'll express their feelings through anonymity online. They feel way more comfortable about that. And then in this case, unfortunately, it turns out to meeting in person and takes a horrible turn.
Yeah. So he began combing through Twitter for his victims using the hashtag, quote, suicide recruitment. Preying on the vulnerable young girls who were intent on dying, he told them via direct message on Twitter, quote, let's die together. And to make sure that the victims didn't back off at the last minute, he would set up a meeting in a train station near the victim's home. From there, they would travel to Takehiro's house. And before assaulting them, to make them relax, he administered alcohol, tranquilizers, and sleeping pills. So, as we said, this was motivated by his sexual fantasies. This was not him doing them a favor like he's trying to act like he is.
Exactly. I mean, clue number one, almost all the victims were female. It's like, if you're just trying to help people commit suicide, why are you only helping females? I know there was one male in his apartment, and I'm not sure how that happened. Maybe just one male answered the call. I don't know. But, I mean, he was looking for females. Let's not get it twisted.
Yeah, absolutely. Takehiro would use this method so successfully that he would ultimately kill 7 young women and 1 young man without a hiccup. Finally, following the killing of his 9th victim, a 23-year-old lady from the Tokyo neighborhood of Hachioji, had her Twitter account hacked by her brother, who was given assistance by a woman who had previously met Takehiro. So, does a little bit of investigating himself. Reminds me a lot of Sandu Story's recent one.
Yes, it does, right? Your character who did a little research and took matters into his own hands.
Yeah, so one of the victims, his latest victim's brother, hacks her Twitter and finds the account that was connected to his sister who passed away. And on October 30th, 2017, the woman who had connected the brother, and said that she had talked to this person before and thought that this might be the person that killed his sister, she consented to be bait to draw out Takehiro for the cops, who then tracked him home.
Brilliant.
So the bait works. He takes the bait, and they knock on his door. He lived in a nondescript flat in a quiet residential street on one of Tokyo's endless sprawling suburbs. Police knock on his door on the morning of Halloween. So this is a gruesome Halloween discovery that they would make.
Understatement.
Yeah. It is kind of ironic that, they would find this house of horrors on Halloween Day.
Seriously.
So when they knock on his door, they asked him if he knew where the missing 23-year-old woman was. At which point he wasted no time pointing at a cooler near the entrance and said, "In there." Once inside, police uncovered a grisly house of horrors, 9 dismembered bodies with as many as 240 bone parts stashed in coolers and toolboxes, sprinkled with cat litter in a bid to hide the evidence.
God, and remember, guys, this is a small apartment, 13 square meters. That's it.
Yeah.
This is a tiny apartment.
Probably about the size of your master bedroom.
Yes. Or, a large, maybe a living room, maybe. This is crazy.
Including a bathroom.
240 bone parts, 9 dismembered bodies in this place. Even if they're in boxes and shit, I don't care if a whole wall is a freezer. It's not practical. I don't understand how he got away with it this long. It's just people being polite in the building, I guess. Right? You just don't want to think that that's happening in your building. The same way with Dahmer's neighbors. How long did it go where they were like, God, his apartment stinks like hell, but it's none of our business, I guess. And it's the same way with this. People are just coming and going, and he doesn't seem like a threat either. These people typically don't.
Yeah, I have a feeling that his apartment didn't reek quite as much as Dahmer's, because Dahmer kept a lot of the meat and cooked it and consumed it and things like that, whereas Takehiro, he was getting rid of the
organs, right?
Everything but the bones, essentially. He was trashing everything but the bones, and the only reason he didn't throw the bones out, he said, was because he was worried that was what would get him caught. Throwing out, indescript chunks of meat here and there, so as gross as that sounds, in the trash. Your trash is going to stink, of course, but it's out of your apartment at that point.
Yeah. Ugh.
So inside his apartment, the police would also discover heads, legs, and limbs from his victims in 3 cooler boxes and 5 huge storage crates.
Jesus. Ugh. Like I say, how does he have room for all this shit?
I know.
God.
It's just coolers all over this tiny
Right?
apartment.
What is he sitting on them and stuff? It's like they double as furniture. It's just so sick, dude. Think how.
To think, like, when he starts getting to the 6th, 7th, 8th victims, when he brings them over to his apartment, like, aren't they right away, like,
yeah,
as soon as you walk in, like, what the hell is going on in here?
well, maybe they're just so drugged that by the time they get in there, they're just so out of it, you know, from the sedatives and shit that he's giving them on the train, the downers, the alcohol, whatever else he's giving them, you know, maybe they're just that out of it. They're just not thinking about it. And you know, they're also thinking about why they're there. You know, they did encounter him because he, you know, helps people commit suicide at a certain extent. So they're thinking about themselves. They're thinking about their life ending. If they're at that point, they're really not thinking too much about their own health and their own safety. So.
Yeah, so now neighbors did validate the incidents by reporting that the residents emitted quite an awful smell.
I bet.
So,
I bet. Didn't he keep his
Takehiro,
he kept his exhaust fan on all the time too? Didn't he, to try to alleviate that?
Yes, they said that never turned off. Yeah, that his exhaust fan was
that
always
poor
on.
little fan. There's no way it could keep up with that shit.
So Takehiro had thrown away parts of the victims in his bin, his trash can, which had been disposed of in the recycled garbage. 8 women and 1 man were among the 9 victims. All of them were between the ages of 15 and 26. He was not shy about admitting to what he had done. He admitted to killing 1 victim in August, 4 in September, and 4 in October. He killed the victims on the same day at which he met him. Quote, "It was difficult at first. It took me 3 days to get rid of the first body, but after that I could deal with them in 1 day." He told the police. So we've talked about how many killers have said how hard it is to dismember a body. They always underestimate the amount of time that it takes to do it. But apparently he became more proficient over time. But an entire day. Imagine spending an entire day. The first one was what do you say? 3 days? Yeah. Imagine spending 3 straight days dismembering a body.
Ugh.
It's hard for the normal human brain to even comprehend.
Yes, it is. I guess it was something to distract him, though. I mean, obviously he got off on it.
He claimed that he was motivated by sex and money, so he was apparently robbing them for whatever they had on them as well. He is suspected of choking his victims, whom he did not know their real identities or ages until they passed out, then sexually assaulted several of them. 2 kitchen knives, scissors, a saw, tying rope, and a gimlet were all had blood stains were found in the apartment. Police would later talk to classmates and discover there were some red flags, as one primary school classmate informed the private Fuji TV network that Takehiro and his friends liked to choke one another for fun. Quote, "He once passed out while playing the choking game," the man who wanted to remain anonymous told the show. "There's no doubt that he goes on to tell the police, quote, "There is no doubt that I sliced up the bodies in my bathroom with the intention of destroying the evidence."
Wow. Well, he's pretty forthcoming of everything, huh?
Oh, no doubt. He also says, quote, "I disposed of the flesh and internal organs like garbage, but I kept the bones out of fear that I would be caught."
Wow.
He would, that's utilizing the old, what's his name in Kansas City, the Kansas City Butchers techniques of just basically throwing the victims away in the trash.
Bob Berdella,
yeah.
Yep. That blew me away when I first heard that case. I'm like, wow, he just got rid of them in the trash. What the fuck?
It's kind of brilliant in a way. I mean,
it is.
Trash is supposed to stink, and then once it's at the dump, good luck.
Yeah, I know, right? Good luck sorting through it and knowing where it came from. Oh my God.
Yeah. Especially Bob would, didn't he freeze the body parts before he threw them away so that it would take longer for the stench to get really bad?
I'm sure he did. And then probably used gloves and everything else for bagging them up. There was really nothing to tie him to them. If that guy doesn't escape, just like Dahmer, you know, if that guy doesn't escape, does he even get caught?
Right. So Takehiro Shirashi would admit his guilt to the 9 murders on October 1st, 2020, and was sentenced to death on December 15th, 2020. And he chose not to file an appeal against his sentencing, which is the only thing in Japan that would keep your, inevitable execution from happening for a while, because they get to it pretty quickly once the appeal process is over.
I was about to say, you
We'll
only
talk more
spend,
about that.
like-
Their death penalty, like the way they carry out their death sentences over there is pretty fascinating. It's a lot different than over here.
I know, right? It's like you get a death penalty here, and chances are you're going to die before you get executed. But it's not like that in Japan.
He says, quote, "I humbly admit my guilt and will accept the punishment." He's now 31 years old, and he was sentenced to death in January of 2021. There are currently about 112 inmates on the country's death row. And this I found pretty crazy and kind of cool in a way. Only on the day of execution do the condemned get the bad news. So they don't get told a date, and they just wake up one day and they're told, all right, this is the day.
Dude, I know about this. We talked about this on Strange Shorts.
Okay.
Yeah, we talked about this on Strange Shorts. We had this big discussion on whether or not that was like humanely cruel, or if they deserve it, or what. I mean, what do you think?
I don't know. I think I would almost prefer that, because I feel like the knowing the date thing would mess with me big time. Just sitting around and just counting down the hours, I'd almost rather just be hit with it.
That's how I feel too. But then at the same time, you wake up every single day going, "Is this the day I get killed?"
Is this the day?
So
well, I mean, I kind of wake up that way anyway. Like, is this the day?
Is this the day?
It could be the day for anybody. I mean, you could die in a car
doubt.
accident, right? Today. You just don't know.
Well, no doubt. But on death row, you know exactly how it's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? And you have to know in Japan, they don't spend that much time there. Like, if you spend 5 to 7 years on death row in Japan, that's a long stay.
Yeah,
that's a long stay. So they're getting to you rather quickly.
It depends on how long you're able to drag out the appeal process. There are some people that there's a man named Sadamichi Hirasa that died of natural causes at age 95 after awaiting execution for 32 years. And his crime was he had poisoned 16 people, killing 10, some of them children.
Oh, wow.
So
so that's kind of a
you can drag it out. You can drag it out, but in this case, Takehiro, he didn't want to go through the appeal thing. Maybe he was actually suicidal and he's just ready to get over with. But
yeah, maybe.
According to Article 475 of the Japanese Code for Criminal Procedure, the death penalty must be executed within 6 months after the failure of the prison's final appeal upon a court order of the Minister of Justice. So this could come down any day for Takehiro. Because like we said, he didn't file any appeals, so he's just going to go ahead and take his punishment, which is to be executed by hanging. And this could happen any day. We could, this could be another one of those cases where we have that weird timing, like we had with the Jinx, where we said in that episode, like, he could die any day. He looks really bad. He's really old and decrepit. And next thing you know, like a few days after we posted that episode, it was announced that he died.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this guy, he can, at any time, right? Because it's within the 6 months. He could
wake up today and get the news that today's the day.
Yep, today's the day.
Yep. And as I briefly mentioned, executions in Japan are still carried out by hanging in an execution chamber within the detention center. And with the death warrant being signed, the condemned prisoner is informed on the morning of their execution. They are given a choice for their last meal. The prisoner's family and legal representatives and also the general public are informed only after the execution has taken place. Dang. So no watch party like we have in America sometimes.
Right. I think that's for the best.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. Most people that watch that, they almost always regret it. Like, I didn't need to see that.
Right. You don't need to see that. You don't need to see it. And also you're given
that being said, I think if you're a family member of one of the victims, I think you should have the right to watch it if you want to. I don't think it's a great idea to watch it, but I think you should have the right to watch it. Like, if you fucking like tortured and killed my daughter or something like that, like, and I want to watch, I should be allowed to watch.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to help you though.
No,
I really don't.
Maybe
I really don't think it'll. I don't think it'll help you heal. I think just having the knowledge that person is gone and they can never hurt anybody again, I think that's good enough. Yeah. Honestly, because you're not going to be able to do anything. It's not like you can kill them yourself. That'd be different. If they allowed the family in, it's like, hey, you want to take a couple swings at this guy, while he's still here, while he's still alive. I feel like that's different. Maybe that would help a little bit. But honestly, it's not. That's all very shallow feelings that's going to help, It's not going to help the healing process in the long term.
Yeah. And so the method they use in regards to the hanging is the long drop, causing instantaneous rapid death by neck fracture.
Yeah.
Much better than the other option when it comes to hanging, where you don't fall far enough to break your neck and you just basically flop around and
Suffocate.
strangle for a few minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. You're like James Franco on freaking Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
Yeah, yeah.
But that played in his favor. A few times he got out of it because of that method.
Yeah, the Wild West is a little different. You might have been able to get away, but yeah, in a Japanese prison, I don't think you're getting away.
No, you're not getting away. No, they're still hanging people in 2022, so they think they pretty much got it down to an art.
They got it down, yeah. That being said, Takehiro, since being sentenced, says that he still has one last wish, that he wants to meet a normal girl and get married before he's executed.
Well, fuck him. So that's how I say about that.
What kind of, no, I don't know, dude. Man. What kind of,
you don't get to meet anybody. You don't get to meet.
What kind of relationship is that? You get married and the next day he gets today's the day you die.
Right? What? Why? What is the point?
Maybe, I don't know. I guess he doesn't really have anything. I was going to say, if he had any money, some young girl should take him up on that just so she could take whatever he has as soon as he dies.
Oh, I know. But he doesn't deserve a quote-unquote normal girl. This dude ain't nowhere near normal. Why the fuck would a normal
I'd marry
person...
him, take up a life insurance policy on his ass.
Oh, there you go.
And then just flake out every time he wants to do a conjugal visit. Nah, I can't make it this time.
Can't make it. I'm sorry.
Sorry, babe.
I got to meet with the lawyer. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're working some stuff out. Are you getting killed
Maybe
today?
next week.
No?
I don't have till next week.
That's what I'm banking on. What? Nothing.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Wow.
All right.
Yeah,
well, that's our first
case.
That's our first case. Do you want to go to a quick commercial break, and then we'll get to the next one, which I call consensual cannibalism. If that doesn't pique your interest, I don't know what will.
All right. We'll be right back, guys.
What's up, creepers? Let me tell you about our latest sponsor, Bombas. Bombas' mission is simple. Make the most comfortable clothes ever and match every item sold with an equal item donated. So when you buy your Bombas, you are also giving to someone in need. Bombas design their socks, shirts, and underwear to be the clothes you can't wait to put on every day. Everything they make is soft, seamless, tagless, and has a luxury, cozy feel. They're made from super soft materials like merino wool, Pima cotton, and even cashmere, which makes them the perfect cozy winter layers. There's a pair of Bombas socks for everything you do. They come in tons of options like comfy performance styles for every sport and activity that keeps you moving. Bombas t-shirts are made with thoughtful design features like invisible seams, soft fabrics, and the perfect weight so they hang just right, while their underwear have a barely there feel with second skin support that might make you forget they're even there, in a good way. And did you know that socks, underwear, and t-shirts are the 3 most requested clothing items at homeless shelters? That's why Bombas donates one for every item you buy. So far, Bombas customers like you have helped donate over 50 million items of essential clothing. I'm actually wearing Bombas socks as we speak, as I record this. My wife and I are in love with them. They fit just snug on your feet. They're the perfect thickness. They're soft. They're durable. You can't beat it. And then you get to feel good about the fact that, you just also helped to clothe someone in need. There's not many companies out there that are willing to give away half of their product to people in need and not make a profit from it. That is really a noble and incredible thing to do. So get you some Bombas and help those in need as well. Go to bombas.com/creeper and get 20% off any purchase. That's bombas.com/creeper for 20% off. bombas.com/creeper. All right, for our next case, a little bit more of a well-known case if you've been in the true crime world for a while, but I have a feeling there's quite a few listeners that have never heard of this, and if you haven't, wow.
Oh, yeah. Strap in for this one. This is the one that's rough, man. This is the rough. You didn't go too crazy on the details, thank God. You spared some things, but you guys can use your imagination.
The left will be left, to your own imagination, or if you want to go find more details, be my guest.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Monstro covered this case. Or
I'd like to know if the video is available to watch. Not that I'm interested in watching it, but I wonder if it's out there on one of those dark websites,
Oh, I'm sure it is somewhere.
On the dark web.
Yeah, on the Tor browser or some shit. You probably can't. You're not going to find it on Google, that's for sure.
No.
Ugh.
Probably for the best.
Yeah.
Because you can't unsee something like this.
No, you cannot.
So, I call this case consensual cannibalism. We're going to Germany for this one.
Okay.
And although Armin Meiwes had a similar motivation as Jeffrey Dahmer, wanting to keep possession of other humans forever, even if that meant consuming them as a means of making them a part of himself, Armin used a different tactic than Dahmer did, looking for willing participants rather than drugging random men from gay bars like Dahmer did.
Right. So is that more passable in your opinion? Do you think that's less evil?
less evil, yes. I don't know how to feel
Barely.
about this one because it truly does seem like Armin's victim. I mean, this is still murder. Don't get me wrong, but he truly did seem to want what happened.
Yeah, he did, right? He not only did it willingly. He wasn't tied up or anything. He just did it, and it seemed to enjoy it after a certain point, at least according to the information.
The descriptions of people that have witnessed the video, it does sound as though like this is, it was consensual.
Yeah.
But as much as murder and cannibalism can be consensual,
I guess it's rough.
So Armin Meiwes was born on December 1st, 1961, and shares a birthday with Richard Pryor and Deshaun Jackson.
Oh wow,
My sister's this one pissed me off more than any of the others when I was looking for the birthday celebrities, because Richard Pryor was like number 30.
Holy
crap. Below, I say it every time, but below a bunch of YouTube and TikTok stars that were 14 years old. I'm like, fucking Richard Pryor should be number one. Fuck you guys. Like, come
Seriously,
on.
one of the greatest comedians of all time.
Seriously, dude. Like, how are you gonna disrespect Richard like that?
Well, it's just relevance, dude. We're getting old enough to where we're seeing people who we think are legends are being outdated. They're just not being considered because they're long gone. They're not relevant enough.
Yeah. So Armin had a reportedly happy childhood. He had he had peace and loving parents. However, he himself was quiet, but was considered a happy kid, building tree houses, riding ponies. Things changed, though. When he turned 8 years old, his father abandoned him, which changed Armin forever. It sounds as though he had abandonment issues after that and was trying to find ways to latch on to people to keep them from, never leaving him again.
Yeah, he went pretty extreme on that.
Yeah, it said that instantly he started to feel lonelier and detached following his father's abandonment. His loneliness got more intense from that point onward throughout the rest of his life, and many believe that the root of his cannibalistic tendencies emerged from this event. Armin started having a growing desire to feel a deeper connection with someone that he had lost with his father at a young age. The feeling of being together with someone on a deeper level turned into a desire to eat them. Armin thought that he would stay with them forever if he had eaten that person. It's not really how digesting
I was
things
about to
works,
say,
dude.
do you not know how your digestive tract works? Because nothing stays with you forever when you eat it. I mean,
right.
Except for
Do you
maybe
also
like,
think that like if you eat frog legs, you're going to be able to jump higher, bro? Like,
right?
It's not really how this
Isn't
works.
the only thing that sticks with you is like a concoction of like alcohol and cocaine? I heard that shit stays in your stomach for a long time.
Oh, yeah?
Like a weird concoction, like the remnants of it or something. The way that it mixes together, yeah. I don't know, but other than that, I mean, you're still gonna pass that. Eventually.
THC sticks with you for a while.
Yeah. I guess in your hair, in your bloodstream and stuff. Yeah, like a month. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty good. THC is a good friend though.
Maybe.
THC is a friend I want around. I don't want a person inside of me for a month. Jesus.
So this desire that he had was solidified in him after entering high school, where he saw that he wanted to be in a romantic relationship with girls his age. Unlike Dahmer, Armin wanted the ritual of him feeding on another human to be consensual, though.
I could see that.
Don't we all?
Don't we all want everything should be consensual? At least we'll give him respect in that sense, right? At least he wanted to get consent.
Dahmer was taking home unsuspecting people, drugging them, and while they were incapacitated, drilling into their head and things like that.
Ugh.
So I suppose that's definitely worse.
Yeah, no doubt. Yikes.
He thought that his interconnection was only possible if the victim practically sacrificed their life for him. Finally, Armin would find his perfect victim on the internet. Isn't that the place you go when you're trying to eat somebody?
Yeah.
Consensually?
Yeah, I guess.
Where else are you going to find that? You're not going to just randomly, meet someone at a bar that is down for that.
Right. You can't put an ad in the newspaper. So.
No. And it's really kind of hard to get to that topic when you're in a conversation with someone you just met.
Yeah. Yes. A little bit.
It's not really a natural segue into that,
right. You don't really put it in your bio on social media. There's not many things you can do.
What do you do for a living? Would you like to be eaten?
Would you like to?
By the way.
It's cool if not. I'm just looking for consensual people who want to be eaten. No, not you? Okay.
Right. Yeah, didn't think so. Sorry to bother you.
Right.
So after Armin's mother's death, I guess she was a pretty demanding woman. Mm-hmm. She kind of had dominance over Meiwes, which is another common thread with a lot of the killers that we cover.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Dominating mother, abandonment issues sometimes.
With the father.
He's kind of checking some boxes here.
Yep. No doubt.
You know what? It almost seems like the dominant mother thing. it leads more to the possession of someone forever. Like Dahmer, he had weird shit with his mom, like the bed peeing stuff, and then also like the ultimate dude that liked to hold on to body parts and things like that. Ed Gein had the ultimate mommy issues as well.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Seeing some connections here.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. That abandonment leads to them wanting to possess someone.
Mm-hmm. Well, also the mother's
And the
dominance
mother dominance,
for some reason.
right, yeah.
Yeah. So Armin started to surf the internet and stumbled upon cannibal websites where he saw listings of thousands of ads of people asking to be eaten. My God.
Right?
How could there be thousands of people wanting to be eaten, dude?
God.
What the hell?
I don't know, man. I mean, there's billions of people on the earth, you know?
There's a lot of different types of people, aren't there?
Yes, there are. There's a lot of people.
Wow. It's crazy. It's crazy to think that, like, you know, about as many people as listen to our show, probably there's that many people out there that want to be eaten.
Oh, God. That really puts it into perspective.
It's weird.
Yeah, it is. Just, you don't know what's out there on the dark web, dude. You can literally find
And
anybody.
I don't really want to know entirely, I guess.
No, I don't think you do either.
I've heard enough.
Not unless you feel lost and feel like you want that connection, you know. But it's there for a reason, I guess.
Yeah, so upon discovering this cannibal website, he was hooked immediately and posted his own ad, which stated that he was looking for a man between 18 to 25 years old, willing to be slaughtered and eaten. At which point he got some responses and made contact with multiple victims, but none of them were suitable and would eventually back out. So, you know, he came across a couple of people that were all talk.
Yeah.
It sounds like until he came in contact with Burned Brands. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing the name properly, but Burned Brands came along, who had listed an ad on himself offering his body to be eaten. And Armin viewed this as striking gold. So, in March of 2001, the two met at a train station near Rottenburg, and they drove to Armin's somewhat secluded farmhouse. Of course, this happens in a farmhouse. Like, where else would it happen? As soon as he entered the living room, Brands undressed and was a well-built and muscular man, just as Armin had hoped for. So he had a particular body type he was looking for, you know, to consume.
I could see that. I mean, you don't get many shots at this, right? So you want it to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, all these other people have done backed out for whatever reason. I don't know if they didn't fit the bill or if they just backed out because they got cold feet or what. I mean, understandably so.
Mm-hmm.
So when you find somebody who is willing to do this, I guess he's looking for the perfect specimen, and he found him.
Yeah. So Burned apparently wanted to feel the pain and asked Meiwes to mutilate parts of his body while he was still alive, and shockingly also asked Meiwes to film the entire amputation so he could see what it looked like. Just as agreed, they set up the camera and started to cut body parts. Meiwes started to cut parts of Brand's body apart. It got quite graphic. Naturally, Brands winced in pain, but after about 30 seconds, allegedly, he stopped screaming and said that the pain had completely subsided. However, the bleeding would not stop, and of course, he would begin to bleed out and drifting in and out of consciousness.
Yeah, he was in shock.
Yeah. It sounds as though Meiwes was conflicted as to what the next step should be at that point. Finally, his desire to eat Burned would overcome, and he would hesitantly grip the knife and cut Brand's throat, killing him instantly, so he could begin the process of, I suppose, butchering the body and consuming.
Yeah.
He proceeded to run hot water over the dead body and cleaned it thoroughly before removing the head from Brand's body and hanging it from the ceiling. After that, he cut pieces of flesh, went downstairs in the kitchen, and cooked up dinner, which he enjoyed with a glass of wine. Very Hannibal Lecter of him.
I was about to say, yeah, this is something straight out of a horror movie right here.
Mm-hmm. He would describe the taste of human flesh, if you're ever curious, as a little stronger than pork, but tasty nevertheless.
Oh.
The more you know.
Right. Thank you. Totally needed that.
Yeah. So after decades, his desire had been fulfilled. He finally felt a feeling of deep connection within him that he had missed ever since his father's death.
Wow.
Well, his father's abandonment, I guess, more importantly. Imagine you abandon your kid and this is the road they go down. Like, you never thought that it would have... I mean, yeah, I'm sure his father knew when he abandoned him that it would have an effect on his child, but turning him into a cannibal, you don't expect
Right?
that.
Hell no. Not to this point. You think, okay, maybe he turns to a life of crime, maybe he gets mixed in with the wrong people, maybe he has a couple bad relationships. But eating people? What the hell? It came out of left field, dude.
Yeah. So for the next few months, Armin would eat Brand's remains, which he stored in a freezer at his farmhouse while searching for more victims online. However, an anonymous tip by a teenager that lived next door led to the police investigation into Meiwes. And so they show up to his farmhouse, and after thoroughly searching the property, a female detective found some meat in the freezer and immediately recognized it to not be pork, as Meiwes had claimed. You wonder what she saw that tipped her to that. Was there something that had like a human quality to it, like a shape of it or something like that?
I'm sure it did.
And after being taken into custody, Armin Meiwes confessed to his crimes without hesitation. He said that he had consumed over 44 pounds of meat before authorities finally caught him.
Damn.
Jesus.
Right. He was eating on that shit for days.
Weeks, months.
Oh, God.
So as we mentioned, though, like unauthorized assisted suicide is murder. And so he was first tried in court on January 30th, 2004, initially for manslaughter, and was convicted of that and sentenced to 8 years. But after presenting the videotape recording of the incident and the increased coverage of the case by the media, the German courts ordered a retrial in 2005, at which point he was sentenced to life in jail, where he remains at the age of 60. He has since opened up about his story and tells people that he regrets his decision and is remorseful for killing Brands. Surprisingly, he has also become a vegetarian in prison. However, psychologists who have reviewed Meiwes' condition claim that there is a strong chance that he would recommit the crimes if he was released. Yeah, I don't think he'd turn back and like move on from that. I think they're right. I'm pretty sure he would go back to trying to do that again.
Yeah, he would. He absolutely would. I think this becoming a vegetarian in prison is just a way to keep it off his mind.
Mm-hmm.
Because he thinks, imagine trying to eat any other type of meat now.
Right.
I don't know, man. I think I might go vegetarian after this as well. This is fucked up.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. It's weird that like after the video, they then gave him life. Right? It's like it wasn't enough. I mean, I don't know.
We've talked about it. It's one thing to hear details of things. I guess it all depends on the type of mind you have. Some people can visualize
but if you
things
saw
from
the
hearing them
video,
more.
but if you saw the video, then you would have seen the victim's cooperation, correct? Or maybe it didn't go down exactly the way it says. Maybe
I guess
he jumped
we wouldn't
the gun
know
on killing
entirely
him.
unless we saw the video ourselves as to how cooperative he was. But
yeah, no thanks though. I don't care to see the video. I'm good. I'm good. Good on that.
Yeah.
No sir. But yeah, I'm pretty sure Monstro covered this case, dude, in episode 1.
Mm-hmm.
Because I couldn't make it
like
through
I said,
this
one's so shocking that of course
details.
It's so shocking that of course many shows have covered that case, but
yeah, but the way they did it though, and the acting it out, oh, that's rough. That's a yeah. I didn't need that. I didn't need that visual of it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go, guys. There's a couple off the wall cases. Something different from what we normally do, for sure, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the unauthorized assisted suicide, man. That's just murder.
Yep.
Absolutely, it's just murder.
Yeah. Now, I mean, there are places like Washington State that offer assisted suicide, and it's legal. It's done properly, and this should be looked at as a last resort for people, in my opinion, who are, maybe they have terminal cancer and they're in extreme pain, and they want to go out on their own terms. It is nice that there is that available for those people, but in most instances, people can get help and they can view that moment they went through where they were suicidal as a thing of the past. You hope that we all go through stages in life at times, and it could hopefully just be another, a little hard, rough patch you went through that you can look in the rearview mirror at,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And for most people it is, and that's what's so heartbreaking about the Japanese case is because all these victims were so young, man. Yeah. They were at a point in their lives where they're just getting started. They're still trying to figure out who they are. His victims were between 15 and 26.
Yeah.
Like they're just getting started. Of course everything in your life isn't going perfect. Like you're still building it. You're still doing the building blocks. Mm-hmm. And that's so heartbreaking, like snuffing out those lives before they can get through that little rough patch.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go, guys.
Well, snuff
Hope you
out the
could
stench
enjoy
in
that.
your pits with some Oh My Gaia.
There you go. That's a much better thing to do. Much better thing to do, guys.
Yep.
If you don't know what Oh My Gaia is, it's an innovative, all-natural deodorant, fragrance, and beard oil company specializing in paraben and aluminum-free products. Their innovative line of deodorants inhibit the growth of odor-causing bacteria while maintaining effectiveness. At Oh My Gaia, they use only all-natural, paraben, and aluminum-free organic ingredients. And guys, at ohmygaia.com, there's tons of scents to choose from. A couple of my favorites are Egyptian Musk, Sailor, Barbershop, True Crime Pine. Of course, True Crime Pine made especially for True Crime Guys. If you guys are True Crime Guys listeners, you can use the word Creeper for 15% off your order at shop_ohmygaia on Instagram, or you can go to ohmygaia.com. That's OHMYGAIA.com. And remember, at checkout, use code word CREEPER for 15% off your order. Guys, there's also scented oils and beard oils available as well. Again, ohmygaia.com. OHMYGAIA.com, code CREEPER.
Absolutely. And we also want to tell you about Tonic CBD. And as you guys know, not all CBD products are created equal. From how the hemp is grown and processed to how it's formulated and delivered into your body, every step of the process goes into making the product affects your ultimate experience with it. That's why Tonic's products really stand out. Founder Brittany Carbone created her original formulas from using CBD adaptogens, herbs, and superfoods back in 2017 and has been working to deliver the most effective, intentional, and sustainable products possible. Tonic Craft cultivates their own hemp from their certified organic farm in upstate New York. That hemp travels only 30 minutes to their state-of-the-art manufacturing and distribution facility, where it is turned into a finished product and sent to you, ensuring the highest quality vibes at every stage of the process. I recommend checking out their Instagram page, Tonic CBD or Tonic Vibes, and look at their stories. You know how you have Instagram stories? They show their process of making this, and that's what really sold me to reach out to them and start working with them, because I was looking for a high quality CBD product, and we've been using it now for 2 weeks and love the products. Definitely the highest quality CBD that I've ever used, and has made a big difference in my overall mood every day. My sleep pattern has been a lot more solid. And they even have tonic rubs you can rub on parts of your body that are aching or sore. They have so many different products that you can use. So
another thing that's cool about them is that it's all in upstate New York.
Yeah.
So they're from their hemp farm to their factory where these are produced. They're just a short drive away from each other. So it's not like this hemp flower is being grown, in California and then shipped all the way across the U.S. and aging over those time and then being put in. No, this is the most potent, fresh ingredients that are going into these oils.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they have a bunch of different blends depending on your needs, but Chill Tonic definitely has been one of my favorites for anxiety. It has ashwagandha, lemon balm, and passion flower to deliver a super calming effect, and it's also really cool that they use black seed oil in a lot of their blends. Black seed oil, if you didn't know, is an antioxidant powerhouse, and it's great for your immune system, but it really just scratches the surface of what superfood can do. And also, the best part is, with being a listener, you can use the code word CREEPER for 20% off your order at checkout. And that's tonicvibes.com. Tonicvibes.com, CREEPER for 20% off your order. Definitely check it out, guys.
And guys, there will always be a link to any of our advertisers right below the description of this episode with the code word as well, in case you forget.
That's right.
All right.
I want to take a moment to give some shout outs. I forgot last week, so it's been, in the week before that was Patreon, so we've got some reviews to catch up on real quick.
Okay, let's do it.
If you guys didn't leave a review and you're not getting a shout out and you don't want to hear us sit here and read reviews, patting ourselves on the back, you can go ahead and check out now. But otherwise, I'm going to read some reviews for a few minutes here and thank everybody that's taking the time to do that and support the show, because they deserve it.
Absolutely.
Can you quickly check the date of the last freeloader episode we did 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
What would that be?
Let's see what we got here. Yeah, we need to go back a little bit. Let's see what we got. The freeloader episode came out the 26th of January.
Okay. So let's give thanks to...
Yeah. Looked like it would be the 26th. Yes.
All right, so let's say thank you to True Crime Junkie, in the U.S. says, #1 true crime podcast. I've been a true crime fan for over 40 years, reading every book about the subject, and these two guys still enlighten me and make it new and enjoyable. Keep up the great work. I once again am in love with the subject. The absolute best out there. Wow.
Wow, thank you.
Yeah, that's really actually one of the more flattering
That's high praise.
reviews, because you've been a true crime fan for so long, and somehow we keep it fresh for you.
Right? We should put that on our Instagram story, dude.
Right. Then we got
Thank you for that.
Simona Nickel in the U.S. says, my favorite podcast. Absolutely love your podcast. The banter is super fun and listen to, and the music is great. I think you guys do a wonderful job researching and representing these horrible crimes. Keep up the great work. Then we got Sexy Lover Babe says, these guys are fire. Keep creeping hick from the sticks in West Virginia. This podcast is amazing and so addicting. Love, love, love it, Steph. Thank you, Steph.
Right on. Thanks. Appreciate that.
Then we got Anila too. Says, great listen. I've been listening to this podcast for the last 2 years. I love the banter and sarcasm. These guys are hilarious, and I love the original intro and the different theme songs associated with the episodes. The latest episode about exorcism had me laughing so much I couldn't stop. I try to avoid any story related to demonic possession. However, I had to listen because these guys are great. The story is disturbing, but they lighten the mood with their roll calling different demon voices. Thanks for making my pathology job bearable. Ooh, you're in pathology. That's cool.
Yeah, I remember that episode. That was funny.
Yeah. Then we got Tokyo XD. Very timely, as we just did a Japan case.
I know, right?
Says, love the podcast. Keep up the great work. Thank you.
Thank you. It works.
Is that it? Yeah. Okay, that's it. Thank you guys for taking the time to go and do that. I'm sure there's been comments and reviews left on other avenues that we'll have to check for as well. Maybe get those next time. But those are the iTunes ones for the last couple of weeks. So thank you guys.
Right on. All right. And
I want to quickly mention our Patreon pages. If you haven't checked out our Patreons, patreon.com/truecrimeguys. You guys know about it. We talk about it every week. There's hundreds of recordings on there, whether it be just the banter or all of our premium Patreon exclusive episodes. So many of the big hitter serial killers are on there.
Right.
$2 a month get you access to the normal episodes. $5 a month get you access to just the banter, as well as all of the other recordings, and a Gold Creep Band sticker. Can't go wrong. You can pay up front if you want, and save 10%, so that you don't have a monthly charge hitting your bill. You can just pay $21 for the whole year for the $2 tier, or $54 for the $5 tier for the whole year, and just be done with it.
Yes.
And then you get 12 months of unlimited listening on the Patreon page.
Right on. Right on. We actually just had somebody join. Well, they joined Patreon back in August, but they just started listening to Just the Banter. I was trying to find the comment so I could give them a proper shout, but they said I just started listening to these Just the Banters. They're like, holy crap! Why do you guys not have more patrons? Yeah, we have a lot of fun on Just the Banter, guys. You get to know a little bit more about us. You can also it's a great place to jump on and ask questions, which we answer the following day. Every Thursday we put up a post either asking for questions, or it might be a discussion topic or something like that. And then
this past week we talked nothing but movies for
movies.
Like a little over an hour.
Oh yeah, at least it was about an hour and 10 minutes or so, and we talked about movies we like, movies we hate, movies we think that everyone should watch, and then we also open up the floor to patrons and let them, comment and say, movies that they feel like they should watch, movies that were meaningful to them. And we do that every Friday, guys, every single Friday. So we just released episode 65, I think, of JTB, and then there's somewhere around 60 Patreon exclusives on Patreon as well. So if you join Patreon at the $5 tier, you will instantly get access to somewhere around 120 full-length episodes to listen to. So tons of content on Patreon right now if you're caught up on True Crime Guys.
That's right.
But if you are on Patreon already and you're still looking for more from True Crime Guys Productions, we got your back too. We got Strange and Unexplained, another podcast that we do that releases every single Monday on the free platform, wherever you listen, whether it be Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, whatever. Strange and Unexplained. And like I said, that's every Monday where we focused on unsolved missing persons, strange phenomena, and just weird cases that we typically tend to shy away from on True Crime Guys because maybe there's just not enough info, or they're just not solved. There's quite a few people in the true crime world who tend to shy away from unsolved cases, so we thought that we would separate those with a separate show. But on that show, I kind of bring you the facts, I bring you the breakdown, I give you my opinion. Also, I have my wife Kristen on the show. She writes for Sandu. She comes in with her opinion and, lets me know what she thinks about it at the end of the show. And then, of course, after that, you get to hear Lauren's opinion on the Lauren synopsis. Lauren's got his own theme song and everything. Lauren comes in, he breaks down the case like cardboard boxes, and by the end of it, you got a pretty damn good idea of this case, and you got some theories to take with you and discuss with your friends. So again, that's Strange and Unexplained, wherever you listen to podcast.
Yeah, buddy.
All right.
All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in yet again, and we will see you next week for another Freeloader episode. Have a great week. Keep creeping.
Keep creeping, guys.
True crime guys, in the desert we like a mirage. It's okay if you clicked on us cause you thought we was True Crime Garage. Now we ain't mad at you, sit down, let us talk at you. I'm talking to the creeper army, we out here making murder, get murder, get murder. True crime guys, in the desert we like a mirage. It's okay if you clicked on us cause you thought we was True Crime Garage. Now we ain't mad at you, sit down, let us talk at you. I'm talking to the creeper army, we out here making murder charming.
You hush your mouth, boy.